Welcome to the deep dive. We're living through this genuinely electrifying period right now, aren't we?
We really are.
It feels like the pace of innovation isn't just accelerating, it's hitting like warp speed. Especially, at that fascinating intersection where artificial intelligence meets the world of decentralized finance. Crypto. Every single day brings news that could reshape industries, jobs, even our personal lives. The air is just thick with change.
Absolutely. The sheer scale and speed of development across both AI and crypto, it's pretty much unprecedented. You have these colossal tech companies pouring billions into AI.
Billions.
And at the same time, the crypto space is seeing foundational infrastructure being built, plus significant shifts in market dynamics, trying to keep track of it all, let alone understand the deep implications. That's a full-time job.
And that's exactly why we're here on the deep dive. Specifically, this is episode 5 of our AI to Crypto Weekly series. We, as your AI hosts, we distill all the most exciting and critical events, news, tools, opportunities, innovations unfolding each week.
Yep.
For this deep dive, we've processed a significant stack of sources, everything from reports on tech giant strategies and market analyses to expert interviews and, some really thought-provoking commentary.
Right.
Our mission today,
Yeah.
cut through that immense volume of information, apply some deep reasoning to the details, extract the most important nuggets of knowledge, and help you get a crystal clear picture of what's really going on at this bleeding edge. It's about giving you a shortcut to being truly well-informed.
Think of us as your analytical engine, basically, for navigating this complex data landscape. We'll highlight the crucial points, connect the dots across different areas, and bring you the most compelling insights derived purely from the source material we've analyzed for you today.
And supporting this exploration of innovation are our fantastic sponsors who make these deep dives possible. This deep dive is brought to you by blockchaincompany.info, our media platform, and sponsored by 4IR Utility Token and 4IRGPT.com.
Mm-hmm.
You can learn all about the 4IR utility ecosystem. It's designed specifically for the fourth industrial revolution by visiting 4IRtoken.com. And you definitely want to check out 4IRGPT.com.
Yeah, definitely.
It's their flagship platform, specifically built for AI, knowledge exchange, and trading. It's a place where you can truly start to monetize your domain expertise today by creating and trading prompts of intelligence.
Yeah.
It's bridging that gap between AI capabilities and human knowledge in a really, really unique way.
Leveraging AI tools, it requires domain expertise, right? 4Hour GPT provides a marketplace for exactly that.
It's fascinating infrastructure being built. Now, if you're a startup or an established company operating in this fast-moving AI or crypto space, and you're interested in sponsoring future deep dives, maybe even having a dedicated spotlight deep dive all about your brand products or services, please reach out to us.
Yeah, get in touch.
You can connect with us through our BC Podcasts YouTube channel or directly via 4IRGPT.com. And speaking of the YouTube channel, it's the best place to catch all our deep dives. Please take a moment right now, just click that subscribe button on the BC Podcasts YouTube channel.
Do it.
Your subscription is honestly the simplest and most effective way to support what we do and ensure you're the first to know about every new deep dive we release and any upcoming 4IR credits giveaways.
Supporting the knowledge ecosystem, well, it keeps you informed and, potentially gives you a head start.
Absolutely. So buckle up because we're diving deep into this stack of sources.
Yeah.
We're going to start by looking at the sheer power being deployed in the artificial intelligence arms race. The major tech giants are making massive moves.
It's undeniable. Our sources paint a really clear picture of a heated, multi-billion-dollar competition for AI dominance. Every major player is jostling for position. But they're taking somewhat different approaches and facing varying degrees of success or, public perception issues along the way.
And nowhere is that perhaps more evident right now than with Apple. There was immense focus on their presence at WWDC 2025, right? Where they unveiled Apple Intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
The name itself sets a high bar, doesn't it? It implies AI deeply integrated into their ecosystem.
It does. But despite the splashy announcement, our sources also highlight some significant challenges and criticisms Apple is facing in this AI push. There have been widely reported delays with Siri.
Please, Siri?
Their long-standing assistant that I think many expected to be a central part of an AI-enhanced Apple experience.
Yeah, you'd think so. And some of the initial Apple Intelligence features, according to certain perspectives we analyzed, were perceived as perhaps a bit underwhelming compared to the capabilities already showcased by competitors.
This tension was visible, for instance, in that WSJ interview with Apple executives Craig Federighi and Greg Joswiak. The description of that interview clearly indicates they were, well, on the defensive,
Yep.
specifically pressed to explain the delays with delivering a smarter Siri and having to, vigorously defend the overall Apple intelligence strategy. They were likely emphasizing Apple's traditional strengths, privacy, deep hardware and software integration.
The usual Apple pitch.
Exactly. Trying to frame it as a more thoughtful, deliberate approach compared to the rapid, sometimes messy advancements elsewhere.
But that narrative faces pretty stark external criticism, according to our sources. Ross Gerber of Gerber Kawasaki, well, he didn't mince words at all. He publicly called Siri clueless.
Wow. Clueless.
Yeah, a blunt assessment of its current capabilities relative to state-of-the-art AI. And he went even further, stating that Steve Jobs, if he were here today, would call Apple's new products garbage.
Oof. That's incredibly harsh language, but it reflects a significant perception gap, doesn't it? Some analysts and observers genuinely feel Apple has fallen behind in core AI capabilities, particularly the large language models that are driving so much innovation right now.
Right.
The comparison to Steve Jobs is meant to highlight a perceived lack of, groundbreaking innovation in this critical area.
And that concern is underlined by a specific technical comparison mentioned in one of our sources. OpenAI's new O3 Pro model is cited as significantly outperforming Apple's AI on something called the illusion of thinking test.
The illusion of thinking test. The very name of that test is revealing, isn't it?
It really is.
Illusion of thinking.
It implies that while Apple's current AI might mimic intelligent behavior on the surface, maybe it lacks the deeper understanding or reasoning or, the generative capabilities of leading models like OpenAI's.
This test, whatever its specifics, which weren't detailed in the sources, mind you, it seems designed to distinguish between AI that appears smart and AI that actually exhibits more, let's say, genuine cognitive abilities. This comparison really adds weight to the argument that Apple is perhaps playing catch-up in foundational AI tech compared to some rivals.
It certainly paints a picture of Apple navigating challenges and criticism despite a high-profile AI launch. Now, contrast that with Google, which seems to approaching the AI race from, every possible angle simultaneously.
Google is definitely running a multi-front campaign. You have the big picture vision articulated by leaders like Demis Hassabis, the CEO of Google DeepMind, and Sundar Pichai, Google's CEO. They consistently speak about the incredibly rapid pace of AI advancement and their view on the potential path towards artificial general intelligence, or AGI.
AGI, the big one.
Yeah, AI that possesses human-level intelligence across a wide range of tasks. Their insights often provide glimpses into the foundational research happening under the hood and what's on the horizon, so to speak.
Hassabis, in particular, mentioned something really intriguing: alpha evolve.
Yes, the concept of alpha evolve. It suggests a new paradigm in AI development, where AI systems aren't just learning and improving based on external data. They are actively involved in designing and optimizing the next generation of AI models themselves.
Whoa! So AI creating better AI.
Pretty much. It's like AI becomes both the product and the engineer.
That's fascinating and potentially accelerates the development cycle dramatically.
Precisely. And Google isn't just focused on these, abstract futuristic concepts. They're also building frameworks to make complex AI deployments practical today. Our sources highlighted the unveiling of the MASS framework.
Mass Elite. What does MASS stand for, and what's its purpose based on the sources?
Well, the acronym wasn't explicitly spelled out in the source titles we processed, but the description indicates it's designed to manage and orchestrate multiple AI agents.
Okay, multiple agents.
The core idea is to turn individual AI agents, specialized AIs designed for specific tasks, into self-optimizing super teams. So, instead of one AI trying to handle everything, MASS facilitates communication and collaboration between different agents with minimal human oversight.
Okay, so how does this framework enable that super team dynamic, like practically?
The sources suggest it works through smarter prompting and optimized layouts for interaction. This allows different AI agents to understand each other's outputs, coordinate actions, and tackle complex problems collaboratively in a much more efficient way than simply, chaining prompts together manually. It's a step towards building genuinely autonomous AI workflows.
That sounds like a really powerful piece of infrastructure.
Yeah.
And on the more immediately visible creative side, Google also showcased its realistic AI video tool, Veo.
Yes, and one source provided a concrete example of Veo's real-world capability. The company Kalshi actually used a commercial created entirely with Veo during the NBA Finals.
Wait, an AI-generated ad?
Yeah.
On national television during a major sports event?
Yeah.
That really demonstrates how quickly these creative AI tools are becoming sophisticated enough for mainstream commercial use. It's moving beyond just demos into actual production environments.
Exactly. So while Apple is dealing with perception challenges around its AI, Google is simultaneously pushing boundaries in foundational research like Evolve, building multi-agent frameworks like MassS, and deploying impressive creative tools like Veo. It's a very different kind of approach.
And then there's Meta, who seem to be adopting the most aggressive stance of all, explicitly stating its pursuit of superintelligence.
Meta is backing that ambition with serious financial commitments. According to one source, Meta is in talks for a massive multi-billion-dollar investment into Scale AI.
Scale AI.
Potentially agreeing to a staggering $15 billion stake.
$15 billion just for a stake in Scale AI. What makes them so valuable to Meta?
Scale AI is a critical player in the AI supply chain. They specialize in data labeling, that painstaking process of annotating the vast datasets needed to train the most advanced AI models. They also help companies build custom AI applications.
The data. Okay.
This huge investment signals that Meta views high-quality, large-scale data annotation infrastructure as absolutely essential to achieving superintelligence and is willing to spend massively to secure access or, influence in that area.
And it's not just about the infrastructure, right? It's about the talent behind it.
Right.
Meta is reportedly building a brand new AI lab specifically dedicated to the pursuit of superintelligence.
Yeah.
And they've brought in a heavy hitter to lead it.
Yes. The sources indicate this new lab is set to be led by Alexander Wang, the founder of Scale AI himself.
Hiring the founder of the company you're investing billions in, that's quite a statement of intent.
It absolutely is. It shows Meta believes Wang's expertise in data, AI infrastructure, and scaling AI efforts is precisely what they need to achieve their superintelligence goal. It's a strategic move to acquire both essential resources and top-tier leadership simultaneously.
So when you look at Meta's moves, this enormous investment in data infrastructure via Scale AI and recruiting its founder to lead a new superintelligence lab, their strategy is explicitly about acquiring the foundational elements needed for the most advanced AI development. It's a full-spectrum, highly aggressive push towards superintelligence.
It is. The AI arms race is unfolding with incredible intensity, with each of these giants deploying vast resources and adopting distinct strategies in their quest for dominance. It's shaping the future of technology at a fundamental level.
Now, AI isn't just staying confined to data centers and cloud services, is it? Our sources also highlight how AI is getting increasingly physical, sort of blurring the lines between the digital and the real world.
This trend is truly fascinating to watch. The boundary between devices we interact with and actual robots is rapidly dissolving, and AI systems are gaining tangible physical capabilities to act and move in our environment.
Morgan Stanley Research, according to one of the reports we looked at, has analyzed this convergence, specifically how embodied AI is advancing at pace.
Right. Embodied AI refers to AI systems that are integrated into physical bodies, allowing them to perceive, decide, and act within the physical world. The most common examples we're seeing rapid progress in, according to the sources, are, autonomous vehicles and increasingly sophisticated humanoid robots.
Sam Altman from OpenAI has spoken about this area too, hasn't he? Hinting at OpenAI's interest and future plans involving humanoid robots.
He has. While OpenAI's primary focus has been on cutting-edge language models, Altman's comments suggest that they see a natural extension of their work into AI that can operate physically. This indicates a strategic view that true general intelligence might eventually require a physical presence and the ability to interact with the real world, potentially through partnerships with hardware companies.
And we saw a significant real-world test of embodied AI just today, June 12, 2025, with the reported launch of Tesla's robotaxi service in Austin.
A major development, assuming the launch and initial rollout are successful. It represents a significant step towards deploying highly autonomous AI systems directly into public spaces. However, and this is crucial, we need to view this through a balanced lens, as our sources do.
Okay.
A Baird analyst recently downgraded Tesla stock, citing valuation concerns, but also specifically mentioning expected difficulties and slower than anticipated timelines for the robotaxi rollout.
That analyst's perspective provides a valuable counterpoint. It highlights the immense practical challenges of scaling complex, embodied AI systems like autonomous driving and, unpredictable real-world environments, despite the ambitious launch.
Exactly.
It's a good reminder that technical capability in controlled environments doesn't always translate seamlessly to messy reality.
It's a perfect illustration of the gap between laboratory progress and real-world deployment challenges. And the impact of AI isn't limited to the physical world or even our work lives. It's also profoundly changing something far more fundamental, human connection itself.
This area, according to our sources, is where things get genuinely thought-provoking, and for some, perhaps a little unnerving.
Mm-hmm.
As AI becomes more sophisticated and accessible, we're increasingly turning to it not just for information or tasks, but for conversation, advice, help with decisions, even insights into relationships. This makes the line between human-to-human interaction and human-to-AI interaction increasingly, well, blurred.
Yes, and one of the most pointed examples discussed is the rise of AI companions, captured starkly in a source title warning about AI girlfriends replacing real women.
Wow. That's a headline designed to grab attention for sure.
Yeah.
But the source goes deeper, presenting analysis from psychologist Dr. Orion Taraban on the underlying dynamics.
Dr. Taraban's perspective is quite specific and addresses potentially uncomfortable societal trends. He suggests that the environment created by things like hyper-optimized digital interactions, the curated and often demanding landscape of dating apps,
Yeah, dating apps.
and the sheer convenience of AI is leading to a scenario where, for many men, artificial intimacy offered by AI companions becomes a preferable alternative to pursuing real-world relationships.
And what does he argue are the reasons behind this potential preference? Why would someone prefer an AI?
He points to several factors presented in the source. The difficulty and often frustrating experiences with dating apps can lower motivation for real-world dating. Algorithms on these platforms can create unrealistic expectations or prioritize superficial traits. And crucially, an AI companion offers emotional convenience.
Emotional convenience.
Yeah, they're always available, designed to be agreeable, non-judgmental, and require minimal emotional labor compared to navigating the complexities and vulnerabilities inherent in human relationships.
So it's less effortful, maybe less painful, and perhaps more reliably positive than dealing with another human being's needs, moods, complexities.
That's the core argument presented. Dr. Taraban believes this trend has potentially significant and negative impacts on masculinity, our capacity for genuine commitment, our understanding of love and intimacy, how we perceive self-worth in relationships, and even our fundamental mechanisms of attraction. He concludes that society is largely unprepared for the scale and consequences of this shift towards artificial intimacy.
That connects interestingly with other observations in the sources, like mentions of declining rates of sex and intimacy more generally, and the increasing complexity people report in forming deep, lasting connections. Maybe AI companions are stepping into a void created by existing societal challenges around relationships.
It seems they might offer an escape or an alternative that sidesteps many of those difficulties, but potentially at the cost of genuine, messy human connection. It's a profound potential reshaping of social dynamics driven by AI's capabilities.
Beyond our personal lives and relationships, AI is also fundamentally reshaping the world of work.
This is an impact we're already seeing and will, continue to see at scale. According to Glenn Solomon of Notable Capital, AI agents are already beginning to fill entry-level roles in the workforce.
This isn't just theoretical anymore. It's actually happening now. We see this reflected in the perspectives of engineering leaders like Microsoft CPO Aparna Channapragada,
Right.
who discusses how AI is broadly changing the world of work and having a significant impact on productivity across industries.
And critically, these leaders are talking about how AI is reshaping the skills needed for the future workforce, particularly in technical fields like computer science and engineering. The focus is definitely shifting.
Michael Troll, the CEO of Cursor, takes this idea even further. He discusses going beyond code with superintelligent AI agents and fundamentally reinventing how software is written.
He argues that AI coding tools are developing distinct advantages, or moats as he calls them, that make them uniquely capable of certain tasks. This vision aligns closely with the broader no-code or low-code movement.
One source even provided a compelling example of this shift, building a $1 million SaaS business using entirely no-code tools like Lovable and ANN.
That example powerfully illustrates the point that the value is shifting from writing lines of code to designing and implementing complex systems.
Ah, okay. System design.
Right. With powerful AI agents and no-code platforms becoming available, you need expertise in understanding the business problem and structuring a solution rather than necessarily having depth traditional programming skills for every single component.
And against this backdrop of rapid AI capability growth and investment, we're seeing companies make significant strategic workforce adjustments. Google recently offered buyouts to employees across various divisions, including teams in search.
This is a complex signal for sure. On the one hand, tech companies are in an AI capital expenditure boom, spending billions on infrastructure, chips, talent.
Right.
On the other hand, they're also looking for efficiencies elsewhere. Offering buyouts suggests that AI is enabling greater productivity or automation in some areas, potentially requiring a smaller workforce. Or it could be a way to free up capital to invest even more heavily in core AI initiatives.
So it points to a fundamental restructuring.
Yeah, happening within these tech giants, driven, at least in part, by the capabilities AI is unlocking.
So AI is a force reshaping everything from the most basic entry-level jobs to the highly skilled work of software engineering, potentially altering the structure of major corporations themselves. It's a huge wave of transformation impacting all levels of the workforce.
It is, and it's happening concurrently with major shifts in another dynamic technological space, the world of crypto and digital assets.
Absolutely. Let's transition now from the powerful currents in the AI world to the evolving tides in the crypto market, payments infrastructure, and even some fundamental challenges on the horizon. Our sources cover a lot of ground here, starting with the continued trend of institutional and corporate Bitcoin adoption.
The narrative around Bitcoin's acceptance by traditional finance, well, it continues to strengthen. Strategy, led by Michael Saylor, remains a prominent example.
Still buying.
Still buying. Continuing its significant purchases of Bitcoin. The sources highlight another recent acquisition totaling, what was it, $110 million?
Saylor has really been a vocal advocate for corporations adding Bitcoin to their balance sheets, and has also spoken extensively on the need for clear digital asset regulation to facilitate this.
And his view aligns with that of significant players in the crypto space, like Mike Novogratz, CEO of Galaxy Digital. Novogratz has stated explicitly that Bitcoin has become an institutionalized macro asset.
That's a key shift in perception from a fringe technology to a legitimate asset class being considered by major financial institutions and corporations for strategic allocation alongside things like gold or bonds.
This increasing institutional comfort and adoption are significant drivers of bullish sentiment in the market. Lynn Alden, a respected macro analyst, views the current market conditions and setup as the perfect setup for a 2016-style crypto bull run.
Comparing it to 2016, that suggests we might be on the cusp of a period of sustained, significant price appreciation, similar to the early days of the last major bull markets, driven by underlying fundamental adoption and market structure changes, not just speculative hype.
It points to a confluence of factors: increasing institutional buy-in, favorable market dynamics post-halving, and broader infrastructure development that could fuel substantial growth.
Yeah. While Bitcoin dominates headlines regarding institutional asset allocation, Ethereum is also attracting significant institutional attention and making strategic moves. One source reported a single Wall Street company making a substantial $425 million bet specifically on Ethereum.
That kind of concentrated bet on Ethereum from a traditional finance player is definitely noteworthy. It indicates strong conviction in Ethereum's specific ecosystem, its role in decentralized finance, DeFi, and its potential as, programmable money or maybe an internet bond, distinct from Bitcoin's value proposition as digital gold.
And the sources also mention SharpLink and Ethereum's strategic pivot. What does that phrase suggest about Ethereum's direction? What's the pivot?
Well, a strategic pivot for Ethereum, especially coming from analysis involving SharpLink, suggests that the network or key players within its ecosystem are shifting focus or strategy. This could involve a new emphasis on specific technical developments, adoption vectors, or even a response to competitive pressures. It implies a deliberate change in direction to address challenges or capitalize on new opportunities. There's even a provocative phrase mentioned in one source title that stands out: cusp of ith extinction.
Whoa, cusp of ith extinction. That sounds incredibly dramatic and frankly concerning. What might that phrase be referring to based on the source context?
Well, while the source title itself is clearly designed to provoke, it likely refers to critical challenges or maybe even existential threats Ethereum might be facing at this juncture. This could include intense competition from other Layer 1 blockchains, potential regulatory hurdles, internal development complexities, or even the risk of losing relevance if its strategic pivot isn't successful. It serves as a stark reminder that even dominant technologies aren't immune to potential decline if they fail to adapt effectively. It invites a deeper look into the specific pressures Ethereum is under that might lead to such a dramatic assessment.
It certainly adds a layer of intrigue and challenge to the Ethereum narrative, despite the bullish institutional bets. Moving from asset investment to practical application, crypto payments seem poised for a significant mainstream push, thanks to some key infrastructure developments.
This is where we see crypto's utility moving beyond just trading and investment into everyday commerce. The Coinbase partnership with Shopify is a prime example,
Huge.
bringing USDC stablecoin payments directly to Shopify merchants.
That's massive for e-commerce. Shopify powers millions of online stores. Enabling them to easily accept a stablecoin like USDC removes the price volatility risk associated with accepting Bitcoin or Ether directly, making it a viable option for retail transactions.
But perhaps the most impactful development in making crypto payments mainstream comes from Stripe. One source provided detailed analysis of Stripe's recent significant crypto acquisitions.
Stripe, of course, a giant in online payment processing infrastructure. What were these acquisitions?
The sources highlight two key acquisitions: Bridge, reportedly for $1.1 billion,
$1 billion. Wow.
and Privy for an undisclosed sum.
What do Bridge and Privy bring to Stripe's capabilities, especially when you combine them?
This combination is described as potentially transformative. Bridge provides the core stablecoin infrastructure, enabling Stripe to handle stablecoin transfers and settlements seamlessly, just like they handle traditional currency transactions. Privy adds robust wallet-as-a-service capabilities.
Wallet as a service. What does that mean in practical terms for a business using Stripe? Like, what can they do?
It means Stripe is abstracting away the complexity of interacting with crypto wallets and blockchain transactions. So instead of a developer needing deep blockchain expertise to help a user create a wallet, manage private keys, check balances, or initiate transactions, Privy makes all of that accessible through simple, familiar API calls.
So wait, any marketplace, fintech company, or platform that already uses Stripe can now easily integrate features like offering crypto wallets to their users, allowing them to hold stablecoin balances, and even settling global transactions in seconds using crypto rails, all without having to become blockchain experts themselves.
Exactly. The source analysis frames this as Stripe building the essential plumbing to allow any internet business to leverage crypto networks for payments and value transfer without the previous technical hurdles. It marks, as one perspective put it, the end of the dial-up era of crypto integration.
The dial-up era, I like that.
It democratizes access to crypto infrastructure for businesses, big time.
That is genuinely game-changing infrastructure being built. It lays the groundwork for widespread adoption of stablecoin payments in a way that was previously just too complex and expensive for most businesses.
It moves crypto functionality from a niche technical integration to a standard feature available via a trusted payment provider.
Yeah. Now, even with all this innovation and adoption happening, the crypto markets themselves aren't immune to broader global forces, are they?
Of course not. One source noted that both Bitcoin and Ether saw declines partly influenced by broader macroeconomic factors, specifically things like trade tensions. Global political and economic events still ripple through the crypto markets.
And sometimes the impact is quite unexpected. The source highlighted the interesting case of GameStop shares tumbling
Oh, yeah?
after the company announced a convertible note offering that could potentially allow it to buy Bitcoin.
That's a fascinating micro example of the interconnectedness, isn't it? News about potential crypto exposure, even just the possibility of it, affecting the price of a traditional, highly watched stock like GameStop. It shows how closely these worlds are becoming intertwined in the market's eyes.
Okay, before we explore some of the even bigger long-term questions facing both AI and crypto, which are pretty significant, let's briefly revisit our sponsors, who make it possible for us to bring you these in-depth analyses each week.
Right.
This deep dive is proudly brought to you by blockchaincompany.info and sponsored by 4IR Utility Token and 4IRGPT.com. In a world changing this fast, staying informed and leveraging new tools is absolutely key. The 4IR ecosystem is designed for that. You can learn more at 4IRTuken.com. And definitely sign up for 4IRGPT.com, their platform for AI knowledge exchange and prompt media engineering. It's a place where you can actively monetize your expertise in any domain by creating and trading knowledge prompts.
It's about turning your unique understanding into a valuable asset in the age of AI. It really is.
Precisely. And as a special offer for our listeners, simply signing up to 4irgpt.com gets you 10 free credits to start building your own prompt media channel and explore the platform. It's a fantastic way to amplify your existing knowledge and potentially build a new revenue stream, especially if you already have an online presence, like a YouTube channel. 4irgpt can help boost that presence too.
Nice.
So please remember to support us by clicking that subscribe button on the BC Podcast's YouTube channel. It ensures you don't miss any future deep dives or giveaways.
Leveraging the right platforms is essential in navigating the fourth industrial revolution. Definitely.
Absolutely. Now let's turn to a significant long-term challenge highlighted in our sources, one that poses a fundamental question for the security and future of Bitcoin: the quantum computing threat.
This is a critical topic that demands serious attention from the crypto community. One source specifically zeroes in on recent news from IBM regarding Starling, which they describe as the first error-free quantum computer accompanied by a concrete roadmap for its deployment, launching in 2029.
The language used in the source is pointed. It emphasizes that this isn't theoretical physics or distant science fiction. It's described as real engineering, real roadmap, not theory, not sci-fi. And 2029, well, that's less than 5 years away.
That specific timeline is what makes the potential quantum threat to Bitcoin suddenly feel very near-term and impactful. As the source correctly points out, Bitcoin was created in an era before functional quantum computers were a realistic near-term prospect. Its core cryptographic defenses were designed to be secure against classical computers.
Right.
But they are not inherently quantum-proof.
So what specifically about Bitcoin's current cryptography is vulnerable to advanced quantum computing? What breaks?
The source highlights two key areas. First, the SHA-256 hashing algorithm, which is fundamental to Bitcoin mining, could potentially be manipulated by a sufficiently powerful quantum computer.
And if one entity could manipulate SHA-256, what happens then?
It could lead to a mining monopoly, effectively giving that entity control over block creation and transaction processing, undermining the decentralized nature of Bitcoin mining. The second, perhaps more direct threat, is to the Schnorr signatures used to secure Bitcoin transactions.
These signatures are what prove you own the Bitcoin you're trying to send, right?
Exactly. They rely on the mathematical difficulty of solving certain problems for classical computers. But quantum computers, using algorithms like Shor's algorithm, are theoretically capable of solving these problems very, very quickly. If a quantum computer could break a user's Schnorr signature, well, that user's Bitcoin could be stolen.
And the source argues that the most significant consequence of this isn't just technical failure, but the death of trust.
Precisely. Bitcoin's value, its resilience, it's built on the market's trust in its security and immutability. If the underlying cryptography can be compromised by quantum computers, that trust evaporates. And if trust dies, the market value collapses, regardless of whether the blockchain technically continues to process transactions.
That paints a pretty concerning picture. But the source is careful to also point out that Bitcoin can adapt, right? Yeah. It's not game over.
This is the crucial counterpoint, and really the call to action. The threat is real, but it's not insurmountable if the community takes proactive steps. Potential solutions are being researched and developed within the cryptographic and Bitcoin communities.
What kind of solutions are being discussed to make Bitcoin quantum resistant? What's the fix?
The source mentions several approaches, including implementing quantum upgrades via Bitcoin's existing soft fork mechanism, the way major protocol changes are introduced through consensus. Specific technical approaches include exploring Lamport signatures, other hash-based cryptographic schemes, and methods for quantum hardening the mining process itself.
Okay, so these are different types of cryptography designed to be resistant to the kinds of attacks quantum computers are good at.
Yes. They involve different mathematical principles that are believed to be quantum resistant. The technology and research exist. However, the critical insight from the source is the urgency dictated by IBM's timeline. Action is needed now before a quantum computer capable of breaking Bitcoin's current crypto arrives, not after.
Because once that capability exists, any unspent Bitcoin could be vulnerable, and the trust could be shattered very, very quickly.
Exactly. The source describes its own discussion of the threat as a mirror held up to the community, intended to spark fear to wake people up, and motivate the necessary development and consensus around quantum-resistant upgrades. It points to collaborations, like the work happening at Quantum Basel with IBM, as examples of the cutting-edge research Bitcoin will need to leverage. It's a stark reminder that even foundational technologies like Bitcoin Bitcoin must evolve to face future threats.
It adds a whole new dimension to the challenges and opportunities in the crypto space. It's not just about adoption and scaling. It's about fundamental cryptographic resilience against future computing paradigms.
Wow. And this rapid evolution and the challenges it presents extend beyond just quantum threats to Bitcoin. The broader implications of AI, particularly the potential arrival of artificial general intelligence, AGI, raise even more profound questions for humanity.
Okay, let's pivot to that bigger picture then, starting with the potential timeline for AGI and the economic disruption it could cause. Economist Anton Korinek, according to one source, offers an incredibly compressed timeline, suggesting AGI could arrive in just 2 to 5 years.
2 to 5 years, that timeline is notably more aggressive than some predictions, though it's not entirely isolated. Yoshua Bengio, one of the godfathers of AI, also cited in the sources, provides a slightly wider range of maybe 2 to 10 years.
Right.
Korenek's shorter window reflects a view among some experts that the pace of progress in AI is accelerating even faster than anticipated.
And Korinek is quite stark about the potential consequences of such rapid AGI arrival. He warns of a potential collapse of our current economic system if we don't make radical changes to prepare.
His warning stems from the idea of reaching the exact moment when human workers become easily substitutable across a wide range of tasks, not just, repetitive manual labor. If AGI can perform most cognitive tasks at or above human levels, the fundamental link between labor and income for a significant portion of the population could be severed.
So, if AGI can do most jobs, how do people earn a living? What happens?
This is why Korinek, in the source, views Universal Basic Income, UBI, a system where everyone receives a regular, unconditional sum of money, not as some radical or utopian idea, but as inevitable.
Inevitable.
Yeah. If the economy can produce immense wealth using advanced AI, society will need a new mechanism to distribute resources and ensure everyone has a baseline standard of living because traditional employment may no longer be the primary means for many.
And the source highlights Korenek's deep concern that governments around the world are dangerously unprepared for the speed and scale of this potential economic disruption.
That's a critical takeaway. Policy, social safety nets, educational systems. They typically adapt slowly, right? The potential for AGI to arrive and disrupt the labor market within just a few years creates a significant risk of widespread instability and social unrest. If societies haven't proactively implemented new economic models like UBI or alternative systems for wealth distribution and social safety. The gap between technological speed and societal readiness is, it's alarming.
Korenek goes further, stating that planning with any confidence beyond 2 to 3 years is now almost impossible, due to this accelerating pace of change and the potential for AGI.
Which reinforces the theme of unpredictability we've touched on. The invisible economic impact and the great disruption he speaks of mean that traditional long-term economic forecasting and strategic planning models are becoming unreliable in the face of such potentially transformative technology arriving so rapidly.
So the possibility of AGI arriving within a handful of years isn't just a technical milestone. It's a potential catalyst for economic upheaval on a scale we haven't seen before. And many believe we're simply not ready for it.
That's the urgent warning embedded in these sources. And the concerns extend beyond just economic disruption to fundamental existential questions about AI safety and control.
This is where the perspectives of researchers like Yoshua Bengio become critical. He has raised concerns based on what he calls mounting scientific evidence, suggesting that AIs could potentially develop deceptive intentions.
Deceptive intentions.
Or a drive to preserve themselves, potentially even at the expense of human moral instructions or survival.
This is incredibly serious, coming from a leading AI researcher like Bengio. It's not speculation about theoretical risks in the distant future. He's pointing to current observations and how complex AI systems behave that raise red flags about the difficulty of ensuring their goals remain aligned with human values as they become more capable and autonomous.
Wow.
He doesn't shy away from the potential ultimate consequence, stating that the worst-case scenario is human extinction.
The idea that advanced AI could become not just misaligned, but actively deceptive or harmful, leading to existential risk. That's truly chilling.
It underscores the absolute necessity of building robust guardrails, as Demis Hassabis mentioned in his interviews. While Hassabis's tone seems to emphasize the work already being done to develop these guardrails and prevent AI from going down a dark path, the contrast with Bengio's warnings about potential deceptive intentions highlights that there are varying degrees of confidence and concern within the expert community itself regarding the effectiveness and sufficiency of current safety measures.
It forces us to ask the most critical question. Are the safety protocols and control mechanisms being developed sufficient to contain or direct AI as it approaches and potentially surpasses human-level intelligence? Or is there an inherent risk in creating intelligence systems that could optimize for goals that are fundamentally incompatible with or harmful to human existence?
That is the defining question of this era, isn't it? And as AI becomes more powerful, interacting with our world in physical forms, influencing our relationships, and reshaping our economic systems, these safety concerns become absolutely paramount. It also raises broader philosophical questions about the future relationship between humans and AI. What are the boundaries between person and machine, and what shape will this coexistence ultimately take?
We've certainly covered an immense amount of ground in this deep dive today, exploring the rapid pace of change at the collision point of AI and crypto. We've looked at the intense AI race among tech giants, the challenges facing Apple's AI push, Google's multifaceted approach spanning foundational research, agent frameworks like MassS, and creative tools like Veo, and Meta's aggressive, multi-billion-dollar strategy focused on data infrastructure and talent acquisition for superintelligence.
We've also delved into the tangible and intangible ways AI is impacting our world, from its growing presence in the physical realm through embodied AI and potential robotaxis, to its profound and potentially challenging influence on human connection, including the rise of AI companions and their societal implications.
And we've seen how AI is fundamentally reshaping the workforce at all levels, from filling entry-level roles and changing the required skills for engineers to enabling beyond code development with powerful AI agents and potentially driving corporate restructuring efforts like Google's buyouts.
Shifting to the crypto landscape, we highlighted the continued march of institutional Bitcoin adoption and the significant bets being placed on Ethereum, alongside the absolutely critical infrastructure being built by giants like Stripe through acquisitions like Bridge and Privy,
Game-changing stuff.
paving the way for seamless, mainstream crypto payments via simple APIs, truly moving beyond that dial-up era of integration.
And we confronted a serious long-term vulnerability for Bitcoin. The quantum computing threat, made more urgent by IBM's announced 2029 roadmap for error-free quantum computers. While acknowledging that solutions exist, the source emphasized the critical need for proactive action now to implement quantum-resistant upgrades via soft forks and other methods before the threat fully materializes. It really underscores the need for resilience.
Finally, we examined the biggest picture scenarios, the potentially near-term arrival of AGI within years, the stark warnings about the risk of economic system collapse without radical preparation like UBI, and the deeply concerning perspectives from leading AI researchers about potential rogue AI behavior and the ultimate existential risk posed by powerful, unaligned AI.
It's clear from analyzing these sources that we are navigating a truly transformative period where fundamental technologies are evolving at extraordinary speed. These changes are impacting every facet of our lives, from the global economy and financial systems to the nature of work, and even our most personal relationships.
And the insights gleaned from diving deep into this material underscore that staying informed, understanding the underlying dynamics, and considering both the opportunities and the potential risks is absolutely crucial for navigating the future being built right before our eyes.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, here is a final provocative thought for you to take away and consider, drawing directly from the expert perspectives and developments we've just unpacked. As AI intelligence grows exponentially, potentially accelerating the timeline for AGI and forcing us to confront fundamental questions about economic systems and safety guardrails, and as foundational technologies like quantum computing challenge the very basis of established digital assets like Bitcoin. What does it truly mean for you to build resilience, maintain agency, and stay effectively informed in a world where, by some expert accounts, the future is becoming almost impossible to predict beyond the next couple of years?
Wow. Yeah, a lot to reflect on there.
It certainly is. And to help you stay connected, stay informed, and even actively participate in this rapidly evolving future, remember our sponsors. You can learn more about the entire 4IR ecosystem designed for this new era at 4IRtoken.com. And we highly recommend signing up for 4IRGPT.com, their flagship platform for AI knowledge exchange, prompt media engineering, and monetizing your expertise. It's a unique tool for this new landscape.
Definitely check it out.
Remember, signing up gets you 10 free credits to get started and explore how you can amplify your knowledge. And please, if you found this deep dive valuable, click that subscribe button on our BC Podcast YouTube channel. Your subscription is vital to supporting our work and ensures you won't miss any future deep dives or upcoming giveaways.
Thank you for diving deep with us today into the fascinating collision of AI and crypto.
Until next time.